All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Pre-Market Prep. As always, drop those tickers in questions in chat. I will answer every single question like every day. Right now, man, breaking news dropping. Listen, I know I'm an enormous fanboy of breaking news, but it is a feature that is unique to StocksToTrade that every member of the daily income trader system has access to. And I don't even know how you put a value on it because they do so much work for you. They're dropping an update right now of every mover and they're giving you the why. Why is this stock moving? Now you'll notice this morning, CCG, they say momentum mover. When they say momentum mover, that means it's moving on no news. Also a China stock, probably a good stock to use the 945 rule on, okay? But then you can also see stuff like RSLS. They dropped a patent. Gastric bypass patent. I'm kind of surprised that this stock is moving this much on gastric bypass. Listen, I'm no doctor, but you look at the GLPs, the Ozempics, et cetera, and I'm like, gastric bypass is still a thing. But anyway, that being said, breaking news just dropping science. You don't have to sit here and dig all around for why is this ticker moving? Why is this ticker moving? All through the day, they drop instantly. Remember, these guys both have a Bloomberg. Okay, both of them have a Bloomberg. You guys know how much a Bloomberg is? It's $27,000 a year. They both have it. So you're basically having breaking news. You're basically getting access to two Bloombergs. Okay, that's the beauty of it. So anyway, dropping the full update. You never have to wonder why a stock is moving. They tell you instantly, instantly, nobody faster, okay? So that being said, ASTS has some news. Deal with Verizon, always good to see when you got a small cap stock with a name, with news with a big cap. Also former runner, ASTS, we've done well on that one in the past. So let me get the update for the morning. RSLS running last night. Major resistance at 51. Remember, I'm not bashing the stock. I'm just kind of surprised it's moving this much on gastric bypass. CCG, China scam, only a post 945 dip and rip. SYTA, probably number one for right now if it can reclaim a high day at the dip and rip level. AWIN, huge mover yesterday, pulling back in pre, set an alert at red to green. I'm missing /G. True pennies, cooling off a little bit. Peggy was my number one yesterday. It went 22% past the entry. Listen, the reason we trade total trash stocks isn't for 22% moves. But, all the penny, arguably Peggy was the best true penny yesterday. They all just kind of calmed down. And we had an amazing run. Remember, the last 2 weeks with true pennies been insane. So yesterday kind of calmed down a little bit. But as always, there's no better way than trade the true pennies than just use the Oracle signals. Or remember, true pennies move mostly because of price action, not because of the story. It's mostly just all price action. So Oracle does all that work for you. It maps out all the entry points, stop losses, as well as resistance areas, does all the work for you on these stocks that basically move on no news. So the most liquid are SCPX, BNZI, RSLS, MBIO, and Buru. The Gapper scan, which is looking for the stocks above 250. Remember the significance of 250. Why is that significant? Because of what's called the 250 rule, okay? The reason, now listen, this is where people get confused. People still short true penny stocks. They still short $1 stocks. A lot of people do. I kind of think they're crazy, but people do. But when you got to remember the 250 rule. With the 250 rule, basically for these true penny stocks, you have to have $2.50 a share of buying power for every share. So it could be a 1 cent stock. You got to have $2.50 of buying power, okay? Which people don't like. Think about it. You have to have a really big, see, shorting the true pennies is really only for big accounts. Because if you got to put up $2.50 a share of buying power for a 1 cent stock, think about it. You got to have a pretty big account, because if you're going to short a 1 cent stock, you're probably going to short 1 million shares. Okay? Guess what? That means you got to put up 2.5 million in buying power to short that stock. Not a game for small accounts. So the reason I like the gapper scan is I'm looking for total trash stocks. Okay? They'll all fail, but they're above that 250 level, which makes them much more attractive as well as accessible to smaller shorts, and smaller shorts make terrible decisions. Chat guys back. Very aggressive would be a buy-in pre, sell-in pre on GVH. I would probably risk 30, 40 cents on this. Very, very, very aggressive. He's been off. I think he's been off for a couple weeks. He's back. And guess what? He's buying a 500,000 floater. Woo! So anyway, very, very aggressive would be the buy-in pre, sell-in pre. Remember the aggression progression. When it comes to chat pumps, nothing wrong with being aggressive in pre, but you got to know when to be aggressive. When's the right time to be aggressive? When things are going well. This is what all new traders screw up. They get far too aggressive when things are going bad, okay? If things are not working for you, if you've been struggling this week, if you've been struggling for weeks, the last thing you should do is take the upper tiers of the aggression progression. You should avoid this thing like the plague if you're struggling. Now, vice versa, if you've had a really, really good week, like things are clicking, you're in the matrix, you're seeing the matrix, that's when you start at the top of the aggression progression and you get a little aggressive. Those of you that are probably not at that level yet, now we have some people that are probably at that level, you should be waiting for the 933 Oracle signal, even better the 945 dip and rip, and even safer would be the 2 p.m. VWAP hold, and then the safest approach to these big movers, if you're really struggling, is wait for them to see if they survive through the day, and then trade the week open red to green on day 2. That's the aggression progression. Now, you choose where you're at in that aggression progression. You have to decide. Listen, I don't know. Maybe you've had an amazing week. You're 10 for 10 on trades. You're literally inside the matrix. That's when you get aggressive on chat pumps. If you're 0 for 10, then you should be doing nothing but watching this thing until the afternoon to see if it survives. Always the same approach to chat pumps. Always you have to make that decision based on your aggression, based on how things are going for you. I don't know. Maybe you got a great week. Maybe you got a terrible week. Oh, speaking of real stocks, HIMS. Remember, this was that swing trade idea from last week. So this actually kind of ties in with RSLS, okay? So I'm kind of surprised. I already talked about RSLS, gastric bypass. Remember, HIMS, this was a swing idea from last week, kind of just went sideways, but they're supposedly going to have a $50 a week GLP-1, and they're supposed to not have any shortage issues, okay? That's huge. Now, they have to execute. They have to execute on this, as always. Remember, expect, and listen, this applies to penny stocks as well as higher price stocks. You know, always expect the worst and never be disappointed. That's like a great, great, great stock market quote. Always expect the worst and you'll never be disappointed. But I am very, very bullish this stock long term if they can execute. Like if they launch that thing, it's a GLP for $50 a week and there's no shortage issues. Oh my goodness, HIMS will be the next Tesla. So anyway, nice swing there. And then Chewy, earnings winner today. High price dip and rip, kind of low volume, but it is earnings winner. So Sam, I'm speaking of shorting, okay? So the 250 rule, guys, it's another rule that only applies to shorting, okay? Remember, guys, I was a short seller for a decade, okay? Understand that there's a lot of impediments to shorting these low price stocks. Number one, you almost always have to have a specialized broker. Almost all these low price stocks, you will not be able to short at a mainstream broker, an E-Trade, a Thinkorswim. Some of them at Interactive Brokers, okay? But across the board, these less than $2.50 stocks, you need a specialized broker. You also need a margin account. You cannot short without a margin account. I recommend, especially now, listen, guys, we got day one settlement on cash accounts. To me, if you got a small account, just get a cash account. Day one settlement as of yesterday. But you got to have a margin account. You then also you have to be able to obtain those shares. Maybe even if you have an alternative broker, maybe you can get them, maybe you can't. And then you have to pay for them. And you have to pay a lot for them. So if you're looking to short low float stocks, you pay like no free rides, okay? And then the 250 rule, you've got margin requirements. Remember, if you short, your broker may get a failed to deliver. You could be short the stock and your broker just closes your position. They don't ask. Most of the time, they don't even tell you. Like they just close your position because they had a fail to deliver. You also, overnight, typically the fees go way up overnight. These are all things that are involved in shorting these low float stocks, okay? Now, doesn't mean it's not a viable strategy, but you just got to realize that. Like I see people like, oh, short this, short that. I'm like, okay, do you have the right broker? Do you have a margin account? Can your broker get a locate? And how much are they charging you for that locate? That is something that no one ever talks about. They just say, oh, yeah, short it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. If you could get over all the hurdles, maybe you can short it, but it's a big maybe. Where the nice thing about going long, especially in this crazy, insane market, is you can buy any of these stocks anywhere. Robinhood, Webull, E-Trade, pay 0 fees, okay? And fees add up, especially when you got a small account. You got a couple $1,000 account. You need to be very, very, very conscious of your fees because a lot of your costs may eat away almost all of your profits. Okay, let's get the number one for today. GVH holding so far. So we got a bunch of true pennies and then SYTA, but fading. ASTS holding nicely. ASTS is the number one former runner. A little bit higher float, but news with Verizon setting up nicely to break through that major resistance level of 638. Probably got good risk down on VWAP. Nice kind of bull flag right here. And then all the true pennies. Remember, they did calm down a little bit yesterday, but we got about 6 or 7 true pennies. And then GVH for a dip and rip. So ASTS number one. And the true pennies at the Oracle signal. And GVH chat pump at HOD basic DNR plan. All right, everyone, have a great day, and we will see you on the Daily Double M.